17 times.
Well, you're welcome to join us.
No, it's up to you.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
I'll watch this one.
Okay.
So, I like to use the headphones because it just kind of helps us get into
Yeah,
the conversation.
that's
This
for
is
sure.
your microphone
That's
here. I'm going to introduce you. Can you hear everything okay,
I
Sabine?
sure am. It's nice and cold up here.
Yes. So my guest is Sabine Durden, and you have a story that one of the reasons I wanted to talk to the angel moms and angel dads, and we're using our second day of broadcasting. That's the primarily my
Right.
guest today, is because you are the human cost to this crime.
True.
To this absolute crime, this dereliction of duty by our leaders. And we get caught up in the politics of, oh, well, we're the party of inclusiveness, and we want to be we're a nation of immigrants, and there should be no boundaries, and there's, hate has no home here, and all this nonsense. But when you really drill down to the core of why our leaders are paralyzed to look at somebody like you and act, which is, to me, so revolting that I, as a soldier, as a combat veteran, I can't imagine not reaching out and doing the right thing and helping my fellow citizens. But behind that is the financial motives. We had Michelle Malkin on yesterday about Open Borders, Inc., and I really, there's the writer Balzac, he said, behind every great fortune there's a crime. The greatest crime of our time is the unchecked flow for cheap labor and for votes of illegal immigrants from the third world who don't share our values, have not done their due diligence, have not done their fair share to come here legally, and then it ends up affecting us as a people and people like you, which I can't imagine your struggle. But tell me and my listeners about what you're obviously doing something with your tragedy.
You have to. You have two choices. You either lay down and slowly die, or three choices. Take yourself out, which I had planned on doing, or you just strap yourself in and just go for the ride, buckle up. And Dominic was my only child, my best friend, 30 years old. I'm a legal immigrant. It took me 6 years to become a citizen, and I'm extremely proud of that because I earned to be here. And I assimilated and all of that. But Dominic was just, he was an amazing man. And he worked for the Riverside Sheriff's Department in California as a 911 dispatcher. He was one of the best. He had an ability to just zoom in on people and calm them down. And then when he was off, he was just the funniest clown and prankster and mama's boy, proud mama's boy. And we called him, he called himself German Chocolate because he was biracial. It was his pickup line for, when he was hanging out with the girls. But he would say, you like chocolate? And they said, yeah, you like German chocolate? Yeah, you want some? he was just like that. But had tons of friends, and he was a pilot. He had a little airplane, and life was so full. He was planning to become a motorcycle officer because he always got bored real quick, no matter how crazy things were at work. But he wanted to step up, and then wanted to become a helicopter pilot for the sheriff's department. Also a volunteer firefighter, and he's going to work to save lives. On July 12th, 2012, at 5:45 in the morning, I was in Atlanta with my fiancé. We had just arrived that morning. And an illegal alien with 2 felonies, armed robbery, grand theft, 2 DUIs, which he received probation for, even though he had no license. But we can't. We can't. We can't do that.
We're an inclusive nation.
Yes,
we like to include
he probably
people.
won't. Don't ever do that again. So he was busted twice, got probation twice, and 5 weeks prior, they had him. They had him many times. And on that day, 5:45 in the morning, he took his truck that was, of course, uninsured, unregistered. He had no license. Why would he? Turned in front of my son and hit him head on and killed Dominic instantly and threw him into a wall. Thank God there were two guys in a car behind him, and they stopped. One stayed with Dominic, and the other one ran after the guy. He wasn't even charged with hit and run. Well, because they caught him. So they should have let him run a little further around the corner, and then it would. Anyway, I didn't know it was an illegal at first. Everybody at dispatch was waiting for him to come to work, and he didn't show up, and the call came in, fatal accident, and they entered the number, and his name popped up, and they had to send staff from other places because they couldn't deal with it. The young lady, his friend who took that call, is still not working there. She can't do it anymore. And in Atlanta, at 5:45, I lost almost consciousness. I dropped. As I'm walking, I just dropped. So there's that connection. And I didn't know what it was, thank God. But the judge knew the killer. The DA knew him. They all lied to me. Oh, let's not go to trial because, it's better if we just have a hearing. I don't know what year it is, what month. I don't even know what my name was. My only child was just killed. My family destroyed. He was the only family I had here. And so they talked me into just going to a hearing, and the illegal got to bail out for $10,000 cash. Well, he was a day laborer now. Where did the $10,000 come from? Because he was linked with a cartel. So he got to walk around while my son was. I have his ashes. I always wear the same locket with the little ashes right here. And he came back for the hearing. He was so arrogant. Because why wouldn't he? He got away with everything else before. This ain't gonna be not much difference. And the judge told us, and people started looking around to see if we get pranked. He said, if I would have known more about this case after he heard the victim impact statements, I would have given him more time. But I gave my word, so we're gonna have vehicular manslaughter without gross negligence, 9 months, 5-year probation. And he served 35 days. 35.
That is just egregious.
Now, I said if he would have just stolen a bracelet at a jewelry store, he would have gotten more time.
2 years.
Yeah. But then I didn't know if the judge would have, because he could have given him 365 days. And that's what we begged him to do. Give him whatever you can at this point. If he would have received 365 days, he would have been deported immediately. But with this 9 months...
Oh, I see.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
They jumped through hoops
Oh, absolutely.
to allow this
Yes.
class of people to skirt
Yes.
the law.
Right. And
Yes.
so he then was placed in a detention center out in the desert, and one ICE agent called me and he said, I can't give you my name, but I want to let you know I keep an eye on him because we up here, we heard the story, and some of us knew Dominic through the sheriffs he worked with and all that. And we're not going to let him get out the back door because sometimes we get a note that says open back door. So they let him out because they're overcrowded. And just last month I found out in a report by Fox on immigration detention centers, they look like Club Med. And I didn't realize at first that it was the same center where I went for a year and a half every week, sitting in the front to make sure they see my face and better not let him go. I didn't know that behind the doors that I couldn't go through and sit in his hearing, they had Club Med with soccer field and phone banks to call home, family visitation. I'm sure they had turn-down service with a little chocolate on their pillow.
Yeah, things that
And
I didn't have as
yeah.
a soldier in Iraq.
Right, and medical, dental.
Right.
Well,
oh, they
why-
have it's,
everything.
It is. You're right. It is Club Med.
And I saw that, and I screamed so loud, I lost it when I saw that. Because my dead son's taxes paid for this guy to sit comfortably. Because you know what? The weirdest part was when we saw him once in a while, when they walked him by, I wonder, why is he getting so fat? That doesn't even make sense. He was just getting bigger and bigger. Well, now no. 3 meals, all the snacks you want. Play a little soccer in the back, Hey, call your family, have them visit. The insanity on crack is what I call it. People don't know. And every time I go somewhere with the cab driver this morning, he said, well, illegals cannot vote. I said, you're wrong, sir.
You're wrong. They're
Well,
encouraged
yeah,
to.
Exactly. And I said, and I explained with the driver license. Well, he said they get those driver licenses so people know where they live. I said, have you heard of swap meets and $300 get you a passport, and you can have 5 different names, because
That's
once
right.
they take it, you come back as Geraldo.
Yeah, and I talked to Diamond and Silk yesterday,
Yeah.
and I said my analysis is on the voter ID. The reason that the Democrats don't want voter ID is so they can get more illegals to be able to vote. Those who
Absolutely.
don't have IDs, right?
Because you sign
It's
up
not
for
about
your license.
it's not about black folks. It's
No.
about the illegal immigrants.
Absolutely.
'Cause that's who
And-
they appeal to.
Yes, because
That's their
everybody else.
constituents.
And sometimes I share this, and I offended people, and, well, tough
Good.
cookie, get over it.
They need to be shocked.
My fiance is black, and in his family, they are still reeling from me being out there. And some of them agree, some don't. And I explained to them, I said, you used to sit in the back of the bus. It took you a while to get in the bus. And then you sat in the back of the bus. And then you fought, you got in the front of the bus, or wherever you wanted to sit. Well, now, you're not even in the bus. You're not even at the bus stop.
You got thrown under the bus.
Hello.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. They are replacing minorities. They're underbidding with jobs. They vote because when they get their license, it's automatic registration for voting. The cheap labor, it's robbing Americans of their livelihood.
Yes.
And the $300 billion is spent every year on illegals. Some people say, wow, that's a big number. Well, make it $200 billion. Really, it's about $300 billion.
The cost,
numbers
you can't
too much.
calculate
Right.
the cost.
$1 is too much,
$1's too much.
That's
and then
right.
there's a human cost.
Yeah.
That's your story.
Yeah.
I think that's really the most important. The people get lost in the numbers. Oh,
Yeah.
this cost this much. The war in Iraq was a couple trillion.
See?
Who cares? But the whole thing about the human cost. That's
Yeah.
why I so love what you're doing, and my heart goes out to you. I know my wife set up the appointment, and she told me about your son Dominic. And I said we've got to get her on because what you're doing is, and the more you speak, and the more people hear you, even people that are just maybe undecided
Yeah.
about this issue, like, well, we're a nation of immigrants, and they get the same propaganda from the
Yeah.
mainstream media and all this. You're an immigrant.
Yeah.
You came here the right way.
That's right.
And your son was growing up in a country. He was
Yeah.
making a difference.
Yeah.
This is what makes America great.
That's right.
We want this.
Yes.
So where everything gets lost and where they take advantage of our openness is
Yeah.
they say, well, we're a nation of immigrants, so everybody can come. It doesn't matter who they are. We like to treat cheap labor.
Yeah.
And I know that there is a wink and a nod to a lot of the drug trade
Yes.
because it's a profit center for
Right.
so many areas
Yeah.
of government. I mean, if they don't really want to win the war on drugs, or they
Right.
would have won it. So
And now we even find out that the cartels make more money with human trafficking than they
Yes.
do with the drugs.
yes, that's right.
So I always tell people, I said, this wall, fence, whatever you want to call it, I really don't care. But let's secure our border because it's not going to save just our lives here and our money. It saves people that are conned into, okay, you pay me $5,000, I bring you to America. In the meantime, you get raped 20 times on
Yeah.
the way. Your daughter, just
I mean, they
no
give
matter.
9-year-old girls birth control that are
Right.
that are being brought up by the coyotes. And,
They found a young girl with, I think it was 26 DNAs in her.
yes,
9 years old. You
Just
ever think she's
disgusting.
going to be? And then they bring their crimes with them, and there is just no excuse. There is no rhyme or reason why this should continue. Then you tell people, well, you close your door, you lock your door, not for anybody but your safety of your family. You don't let anybody in just because they say, well, I need help. We have nothing, and that's a misconception. A lot of our money goes. We're sending aid to these countries. Whatever their government doesn't distribute, that's not our business. And a lot of the illegals have big ranches, trucks, everything paid off because they come here, they get paid under the table, they get welfare. They are raking it in while our own are on the street. And you just walk out the door. You see homeless veterans. You see elderly people that have to decide between a sandwich and medication. Kids that the parents barely making it. And we keep pushing it onto these illegals that are now very ungrateful because the soup was cold in the detention center.
right. I've seen these stories, and not only that, but if you really cared about our immigrants, the people who come here legally, it's a slap in the face to them to say, you
Yeah.
worked all these years, you filled out all the paper, you went through all the hardship,
Yeah.
you got here, and you're competing in a job market, and now
Right.
we just allow people to waltz over, and then not only that, but they get better treatment than
Yes,
you do.
they do. They do. The best story, and one of my fiance's cousins, he does yard work. He has about 20 clients, and we got in a discussion, and it got heated because he feels we can take in everybody, and we have space for everybody. So I told him, I said, now how much you charge per yard? $30. Okay, I said, Jose and host B gonna come by and bid $5 less, and you're gonna have maybe 5 yards until they catch up to you, and then you have nothing. So he was laughing about that. 6 months later, he came and apologized because he said he lost 10 yards because they moving in and underbidding everybody. Now he believes me. I said, but I wanted you to believe me before it got to that point and speak up. And I live in a small town now in Arkansas, and our local newspaper refuses to write anything about it. We had an illegal that raped his daughter. His son raped the own sister for years.
Wow.
She was so conditioned, being the sex doll for the whole family and the cousins and the uncles, that she couldn't wait for them to get out of jail. And the sheriff and I, we met, we talked. He knew who I was. He had watched me before. And he told me, no, we just have drunk drivers around here, and, it's not that bad. Well, he called me crying. I told him it was an iceberg, and he just got to see it.
Yes.
And people absolutely have to wake up. Stop whispering the word illegal alien. It's not a cuss word. It's the legal term.
It's illegal.
You're not a racist.
And you're an alien.
Right. You're not an illegal immigrant, because then you're offending me.
Right.
You're not undocumented, because that would be me driving without my license, forgot it at home. That's it. Stop whispering. Call it what it is. You're not a racist when you speak about this, even though I get called racist, and I show pictures of them, and they're like, oh, wow. They call me
You're
Nazi
racist.
because I'm from Germany.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
and I get KKK too.
Oh, the
Yeah,
KKK.
and my best line always
not-
is, throw that in, because sometimes I use white sheets in the bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, the
they come-
communists, that's one of their tactics. The
Yeah.
communists use those terms, racist, Nazi.
Yeah.
This is
They
from...
want to shut you up.
This goes way back many
They
decades.
want me now to
Yes.
explain why I'm not, and I'm not. I'm not. And now let's get back to the subject, because you're not going to win this one with me, because I have proof. I have my son's ashes with me.
No, and this is how your message is so powerful, and I'm just so inspired by what you do, and I want you to continue. I want you to be on my show. I want you to be on any show that'll take. I want
Thank
people
you.
to see and hear your message, because this is really, we can talk about policy all day long.
Yeah.
People get lost in the numbers.
Right.
You can talk about, the Democrats are importing a permanent underclass, and they're going to have this coast-to-coast California because they're going to get all the states blue.
That's right.
That's what they're doing with illegal immigration. But people can't really see it. They go, well, I disagree with your
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah.
But you are real. And this
Yeah.
is what happens. Now, your son would be alive. He'd be here with us today. He'd be making a
Absolutely.
difference.
Yeah.
If-
But you hear a lot. I hear a lot. Oh, he could have been killed by an American. And I'd say, yeah, you're absolutely right. He could have.
But he wasn't.
But he wasn't. Now what are we going to do with this?
That's a
Where we
really
gonna go
stupid
with it?
argument.
It is. Then I'm told there are more Americans killing, and I get the posters on Twitter from all these school shooters. There are more white Americans killing Americans. Okay, but American criminal idiots have a right to be here, sadly. But illegals don't. So if there are no illegals, we have zero crime. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And we have $300 billion to spend on our own infrastructure, whatever we need.
Yeah,
we got to shove it up.
we could clothe
illegals.
the needy and feed the homeless,
Yeah.
and we
Would
could
be a whole different
we could
story.
we could do amazing things with $300 billion.
Yeah.
We could remake the whole country.
Yes.
But
And we would have that wall.
But what about our corporations? How would they get their cheap labor? How would our
It would
political
cost a little
overlords
bit more.
get their
It would cost a little bit
permanent-
more, and I would gladly pay a little bit more.
Me and you both. I think most Americans
Yeah.
would. Not everybody is. Oh well, I can't save 30 cents on my whatever
Yeah.
at Walmart.
Or I
and-
can't get any avocados.
Who cares?
Good. Well, we have locally grown.
Well,
ones,
there's
so-
there's avocados in
Yeah,
California,
absolutely.
and you always will be able to get
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with the tariffs when Mexico was talking about, we don't want to pay the tariffs. We'll do something about the immigration. President Trump was talking about that. I was in support of that. People were like, what about the avocados? There's a human cost. We'll pay the tax. We have to stop the.
Yeah.
We have to stop the flood.
I would give up just everything.
Yes.
I would give up everything that people hold dear. They cling on to their cars, their status, their designer clothes. When you lose your child, and for me it wiped out. He was supposed to walk me down the aisle next month. I will never have grandkids that I get to spoil rotten by a electric drum set for so they can annoy the daddy. I can never do that. So you're robbed of so much more than you could think of. So the 30 cent added to a flipping avocado, really, that's where your value is? And people need to realize that what happened to me and the many, many people that are now contacting me on Twitter. Matter of fact, your listeners, reach out. Sabine_Durden on Twitter. More and more come forward, and they don't want to be on radio, they don't want to be on TV, but they want to share. And then they say, well, you speak for me. So
Yes.
I became pretty much busy behind the scene, and it's heartbreaking what happens.
Well, you're wonderful at this.
No,
You're a
thank
great
you.
storyteller,
Thank
and
you.
it just comes across.
Thank
Your
you.
message is real.
I
And-
don't want to run for office. I don't want to get rich. That's why with domhugs.org, domhugs.org is where I post the videos or what I'm doing here. It's going to go up and where I've been and what we maybe need to do and share stories about Dominic. I don't have a foundation because I don't ever want somebody to say, well, you're profiting from his
Right.
death. No, I pay my own, and we get invited and all that, but it's good. And then I need to tell you about AVIAC, Advocates
tell
for
me.
Victims of Illegal Alien Crime, AVIAC, AVIAC.us. Sorry.
It's okay.
We, 6 of us, parents, 2 brothers were lost, 3 sons. We created AVIAC because there were groups out there that were led by people who didn't know our pain. And anybody who loses a child, it doesn't have to be because of an illegal. We know the hug we give each other, we look at each other, we know. If somebody says, I'm good, I know she's not, I can see it. We just play this role. And so we created this group, and we out there fighting. We're trying to change policies. We come to D.C., we get spit at, I get shoved, I have death threats. And I tell people, you can't threaten me, you can't hurt me. Worse than I'm already hurting. There's nothing that could happen to me that would take me to a different level. So we created AVIAC, and we're out there, we're pounding the pavement. Go to our website. If you have a couple dollars, donate, because we don't get funded like all these pro-illegal
Yes.
groups. Oh, they can come in
They're
thousands.
funded internationally by
Yes.
by sinister forces.
Right, and
that
they have
are trying to destroy our
big
country.
bucks behind them. That's
Yes.
why I always wondered, how can you have, like we were out there yesterday in front of the Capitol with 190 sheriffs, and after we were done, there was a large group coming up with their T-shirts, something about gun violence. And I'm thinking, who's paying for all this? We don't have.
I love your questions. Who's paying
Who's
for
paying
all
for
this?
this?
You know, evil always has a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, it
but
does.
you have the truth,
Yes,
and the truth will set you free.
It does.
You keep doing this.
I will.
I
I
promise.
won't stop.
You don't. You need
I'll
to keep.
stop
You have
when
a
I
great
meet
message.
my son again. When I can give him the biggest dom hug that I give people
Yes.
now, because he was a big guy, cuddly. And no, I'll stop then when I meet him again. And I hope I still have a lot of time to share his story. But now I'm getting emotional. I appreciate so much. I appreciate,
I appreciate
your
you.
service.
I appreciate
And
you.
I'm tired of people banging up on you and on our law enforcement because they're doing the right thing. It shouldn't be like that.
Well,
And
we're all in this together. You're not
yes,
alone.
we're not quitting.
No.
Loud and clear, Dom Hugs.
And all my listeners are behind you. We're behind you.
Thank you. Contact me, please.
We are.
Join
we
me.
will. We will.
Yes, I'd love to.
I'm going to have you back on too.
I'd
that's
absolutely
okay.
love it. Call me in Arkansas.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna,
I
I'm
love
gonna have some
Arkansas.
ass tie for you. See, I'm learning.
Can I get a Dom hug too before we go?
I wouldn't leave without.
Okay, I wanted to ask for
Yes,
one. All right.
absolutely. Thank you.
Sabine Durden, everybody. And this, make sure I get all of your stuff plugged. It's
Yes.
At Sabine Durden _Durden on Twitter, and the website is
domhugs.org.
domhugs.org.
Yes, please come join us. Write to me, let me know, give me some input. And if you know somebody that's been affected, whether it was identity theft or anything, hit and run, contact me. We have people that we can contact to maybe help you. There are many offices. We have here Voice, the office that Donald Trump created, our president created. And without him, that message wouldn't go out there. So there is help out there. There's absolute means to get you to the right channels. But thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming. I'm going to get a Dom hug.
Yes, you will.
Thank you so much.
I want to get a picture. Yes, please.
Yeah, let's get a picture.
I'm good in selfies.
You send one.
Oh, I got to do this. Enter your number.
Yes, absolutely.
Nah, without
It's
doing
okay. It's okay. Let's go back here
There
and
we
go into
go.
contacts.
There you go.
And I think we can just do add. How do we do
No, I guess we gotta go back. The heck? Let's see, I gotta get him out of here. What can I?
I don't know.
I'll send you the picture I got of you too.
Oh, thank you. Let's see, if not, we'll write it down and then I enter it. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Here we go.
Thank you. Oh, and I got a bracelet for you and your wife. You have kids?
Yes.
How
I
many?
have a 14-year-old son.
I got three.
Tony Arteburn.
Thank you, Tony. Let's stay in touch.
Yes,
I'd love
absolutely.
that. Thank you. This was so nice to do. Oh, and
You're a
I
great
have a loose.
We are, folks, good to be with you right here from the Federation for American Immigration Reform annual event.
These are families that love us, and they each have
Issues of immigration.
their stories. Here's contact if you want.
Okay.
Unbelievable. And some of them have not been very good.
I'm going to keep this with me.
Yes.
And let's continue this. This is so important.
That was good.
Celebrity status, diamond and silk, the ultimate selection. How are you? I'm doing great. And Silk, how are you?
We're still live here on Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to temporarily stop the feed so we can take this video and we're going to be able to take the audio off of it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back live in about 2 mics.
In fact, it's an honor.